In the darkness of a cold night in Moscow, something older than the planet itself watched the city from atop its skyscrapers. In a secret meeting deep within the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin shook hands with a creature that appeared human but emanated a strange coldness. These beings, who called themselves Zarkons, had infiltrated Earth centuries before, adapting to its environment and politics. The alliance with Putin marked a new era of subtle control. Communism was no longer just a political ideology, but a web of alien influence capable of manipulating minds and societies almost imperceptibly. While the world was distracted by economic crises and regional conflicts, the Zarkons moved their pieces, infiltrating political leaders and influential figures in various countries. The silent expansion of communism was carefully orchestrated, with Putin acting as the chief strategist, manipulating global decisions from the shadows. The directives came directly from Moscow, but the hands were invisible. Ministers, generals, and even CEOs of major corporations began to show loyalty to communist ideals. The first step toward global domination was the creation of Zarna, an apparently harmless corporation that promised technological innovation and sustainable economic development. The company served as the commercial arm of the Zarkons, allowing their alien technology to be disguised as human progress. In reality, the devices offered were designed to collect psychological data and influence thoughts, subtly altering user behavior to make them more receptive to communist ideals. As the alien influence grew, resistance also began to form. A group of CIA spies, led by a former Russian agent who had defected, started noticing the subtle signs of social and political changes in various countries. The defector's name was Alexei Volkov, and he knew Putin's tactics well. He and his team were based in Berlin, one of the first targets of the new era of alien communism. Alexei believed that direct confrontation would be suicidal. The only hope was to expose the Zarkon-Putin alliance to the world before it was too late. Putin, aware of the emerging resistance, intensified operations in secret. A massive cyber attack was launched against U.S. security systems, paralyzing communications and infrastructure. The operation, codenamed Red Operation, was carried out by the Zarkons themselves, executing it with surgical precision. The public, however, remained unaware that these events were part of a larger plan. Governments began to accept technological help from Zarna to restore order, unknowingly allowing the invaders to gain even more control. As cities began to reorganize under Putin and the Zarkons' influence, a new slogan started appearing on social media and news outlets: New Red Order. Ad campaigns spoke of a unified future, free of inequality, promising a world of abundance and equality. But what was not disclosed to the public was that this equality meant total submission to an alien hive mind that would control all aspects of human life. It was now up to Alexei and his team to find concrete evidence of the Zarkons' alien origin before their influence became irreversible. They knew the key was hidden in a secret facility in the Urals, where alien technology was being adapted for military use. However, the journey would be risky. The facility was guarded not only by Russian soldiers, but by disguised Zarkons, whose psychic powers could detect hostile intentions. At the secret facility in the Urals, security tightened by the minute. Alexei and his group, now equipped with high-tech gear stolen from one of Zarna's warehouses, had to act swiftly and precisely. To avoid detection, they used a camouflage device based on the same alien technology they aimed to combat. This allowed them to approach the outer barriers undetected, but the real challenge was getting through the energy fields that only the Zarkons could deactivate. Upon breaching the outer defenses, Alexei and his allies discovered something even more sinister: a vast underground laboratory filled with containment pods, where humans were subjected to brutal forms of mental reprogramming. The victims emerged as programmed agents, ready to implement the New Red Order anywhere in the world. One of the team members, an intelligence specialist named Ethan Hayes, nearly succumbed to the horror of what he saw, but it was Alexei who maintained focus, remembering that the world depended on their success. Alexei's plan was simple but risky: abduct one of the Zarkon leaders and force him to reveal information about their alien technology, particularly how to disable the mind control fields. The target was a Zarkon known as Kalen Ra, one of the main architects of the New Red Order, who had apparently assumed the identity of an influential Russian businessman. The abduction occurred during a visit to Moscow, with Kalen Ra surrounded by a mix of human and alien security guards. It was a brutal confrontation, but Alexei's group managed to escape with Kalen Ra, albeit with severe injuries. Interrogated in an improvised hideout, Kalen Ra initially resisted with his telepathic abilities, attempting to influence the thoughts of his captors, but Alexei was prepared. Using a mental blocking device recovered from Zarna's warehouses, he managed to protect his mind and that of his team from telepathic invasions. Forced to talk, Kalen Ra revealed the existence of a technology called Coromorph, the true core of alien control. This technology was hidden in an even more secret complex located in the Arctic, protected by a heavily armed base and extreme weather conditions. With this new information, Alexei knew that the mission in the Urals was only the beginning. The Arctic complex held the key to dismantling the entire Zarkon operation on Earth. The group prepared for an incursion into the Arctic, aware that they would face not only natural dangers, but also elite Zarkon forces and their human allies, now programmed to fight to the death for the New Red Order. The journey was long and exhausting, with the team battling extreme cold and constant ambushes along the way. Upon reaching the Arctic base, the team found an almost impenetrable fortress with watchtowers filled with motion sensors and patrolling drones. However, they had a trump card, a cyber virus developed by one of the team members specialized in hacking alien systems. The virus was able to temporarily disable the defense systems, allowing the team to advance into the facility's interior where the Coromorph was located. Inside the complex, the team found the Coromorph, a pulsating, organic alien machine, almost alive, connected to a vast network of cables extending outside the facility, controlling human minds worldwide. Alexei realized that to destroy the machine, a sacrifice would be required. Someone would need to manually overload the machine's core with enough energy to shut it down permanently, but at the cost of their own life. Ethan Hayes volunteered for the final mission. With tears in their eyes, the team bid him farewell as he activated the explosive charge while Alexei and the others fled the complex. The resulting explosion was massive, echoing across the Arctic tundra and severing the Zarkon's psychic connection with their human agents worldwide. With that, the alien threat was finally neutralized, though the cost had been high. The world was now free from alien influence, but the fight was far from over. Putin had survived the collapse of the New Red Order, and was already planning his next move. Alexei, now without his battle partner, prepared for what lay ahead, knowing that the war against hidden power was far from won. With the Coromorph's destruction and the temporary defeat of the Zarkons, Alexei and his team returned to Moscow. Now they had to face one last obstacle, Vladimir Putin, who still held control over several factions loyal to the New Red Order. The secret resistance organized a direct assault on the Kremlin, aiming to capture Putin and finally expose his alliance with the aliens to the world. The attack on the Kremlin was absolute chaos. Human soldiers and Zarkons, now without psychic support, fought fiercely, but in a disorganized manner. At the heart of the battle, Alexei confronted Putin, protected by two disguised Zarkons. The fight was intense and violent, with Alexei finally managing to subdue Putin and reveal his betrayal through a live video broadcast to resistance networks worldwide. Putin, seeing himself cornered, tried to negotiate his freedom, promising to reveal alien secrets to Alexei. But the agent knew he could not trust a man who had betrayed all of humanity. Without hesitation, Alexei handed Putin over to the Russian resistance, ensuring he would be tried for his crimes. The Russian government, now free from the Zarkon's influence, promised complete reform, seeking to restore the trust of its citizens and the world. As the world began to recover from alien domination, Alexei reflected on the losses and sacrifices made throughout the fight. Ethan, Kalen Ra, and many others had given their lives for a chance at freedom. But Alexei also knew that, with the Zarkons defeated, new threats could arise. He had now become a symbol of resistance, ready to act whenever the world needed him. And so, the story came to an end, not with an absolute victory, but with the promise of a more alert and united humanity. The alien presence had been eradicated, but the war against control and oppression never truly ends.